Even these guys are voting yes.
Great stuff. Well, listen, we're counting on your votes, fellas.
Yes, I'm delighted to see you there.
Great.
Well done.
Thank you. Look, I magically got
She was no originally, but we sold her a sweater.
sold me completely.
Sold her completely.
I was around for the last referendum, which was very wounding. So that's why I didn't want to canvass, because I was afraid of what would go on, because I remember all the not listening and the shouting at each other and the shouting each other down. And I think we've evolved. I think the process of having the People's Assembly and then the Dáil Committee and how that was part of informing. So I read the report. A lot of people have read the report, so we've heard about the medical issues and so on. So we're from a better fact-based place, I think, in the discussion.
The thing about 1983 was it's almost like as if it was a different country. It was quite, as it's been described, a very nasty and a very divisive campaign, and it was that. A lot of the imagery that you see on posters and in public places in this campaign was there in 1983 as well. I suppose to some extent it had a greater impact then, because I think that the world we're in now, people are much more used to seeing imagery of all kinds. I mean, online, for example, and everywhere else. So I think that there was a real, how would I describe it, shock value, as it were, to the kind of imagery that was deployed at the time.
I don't remember the really nasty battles because I was in Dún Laoghaire rather than in other counties around the country, but certainly the atmosphere in schools. We were shown the horrible video at the time. I think it was called The Scream, about to turn us off abortion for life. I would have gone to mass at that stage, so it was preached from the pulpits that we shouldn't be doing this, that we should be putting this into the constitution to protect life into the future, you know. And it was very persuasive to a lot of people, and obviously it was, in that it was put into the constitution.
So there's people at the door who are voting yes now, but they also said they voted back in '83 against the insertion of the amendment. Equally, we have two men who are canvassing locally who voted against the inclusion of the amendment, who are now voting to defend it. You know, they say past results don't guarantee a future one.
Yeah.
I think the greatest thing that anyone can do is to love somebody else, and we have it in our sexual relationships. Why can't we have it in our children relationships, our baby relationships? The bottom line is nothing brings you anything good in this life except loving each other, and there's nothing else. I'm not religious, but I know this to be a fact, and I think people should know that. I've met a lot of angry women, a lot of angry men. I've been abused more than I could ever have imagined, on the streets, at the doors, and I've taken it all. I've stood there and taken it, and it's worth it.
It is something that you clearly get quite emotional about. Is that difficult to keep in check on the doorstep when you have to engage with someone who might be undecided?
I don't try to keep it in check. I want people to see that it hurts. I'm sure it hurts babies.
On a church.
I think if this comes out of the Constitution, we need to bring the people who were against this, who had very honestly held views, try and bring them with us in the fight for women to have a real choice, so that they have a choice to have, if they're going to have a child, that there's a house, you know, that is fight against homelessness, to fight for better social welfare supports for people. I think it's really important that the people who do care about what people do with their lives, that they get involved in trying to fight for a better society that cares for everybody in it, you know, and provides all those supports. And ultimately we need the free contraception, we need the sex education, we need all the other bits and pieces that go with creating a sane society where crisis pregnancies are avoided.